on, everybody, and welcome to another action-packed edition
Hello.
of Carbonite Bounty BS. Man, I tell you guys, some of the conversations we have off camera.
Almost got it
I'll
to
tell
like
you
this
guys,
cuts
man.
off camera and everything,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
House of the Dragons, woo, man.
Hey, man, great. It's great to be a nerd, man. Great that there's content out for
Yeah.
us to watch.
Woo. Yeah, buddy.
It's the golden age of nerddom for sure, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. And before we even jump into our show, I mean, just a real quick tidbit. I mean, that Deadpool 3 announcement for Marvel. I mean, what a big thing, man. I didn't expect that to come out like that, especially with Hugh Jackman being in it. So, as far as our other show, NCFS, I mean, that's a really big thing to really go over is Hugh Jackman back again as Wolverine, at least one last time, we'll say.
So Hugh Jackman's like 80 years old now. So
Yeah, he's 80 years old. He's going to put on a pound of muscles, just to come and, do his friend Ryan Reynolds a favor.
He's got the metal skeleton that's not going to have any rust spots.
Right.
He's not going to.
Adamantium doesn't rust. It's indestructible, and I'll thank you not to besmirch it, sir.
And it is. Let's make sure we
It's
all. It is Nazi technology. Okay.
I just want to see Mickey Mouse in the movie.
I feel like
you want to see.
I feel like Ken, you were very much slandering the Canadian government by calling them Nazis.
All of them are Nazis. The whole.
Not all talking about Canadian pals in Canada.
We love you, Canadians.
We love hockey. We're hockey fans here.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, kind of get into this Andor stuff. Another great episode. Super fun watch. I mean, I've seen some of the reactions online. Some people are hit or miss. I mean, I'm really liking it because it's a different take on Star Wars. Pretty big Easter eggs in this. I've watched a couple of different reaction videos to pick up some things I didn't kind of see in the background. So curious to see if you guys caught some of those as well, as far as some big Easter eggs. Before we even dive into our reaction to episode 4, let's let DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people. Make sure that you are there. What we're pointing to down there. All right. So on nerdcyclopedia.com is our great website. You will find all your favorite social media links to at Nerdcyclopedia, social, Twitter, Facebook, and also Instagram. Also, make sure that if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. We definitely appreciate you, tuning in. You are if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribing and hitting that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. Make sure that you also email us at nerdcyclopedia.com. We love getting your feedback and all that stuff. And speaking of feedback, if you are on Facebook, we got a Facebook group, Carbonite Bounty BS, a Star Wars group. We will make sure that you are, heard. You can list all your grievances, all your favorites, all your, all your best stuff that that you like, as far as like Star Wars and stuff. We love you. Make sure that you are I'm just all jacked up today. On our iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, we have a podcast called Carbonite Bounty BS, of course. So make sure that you're listening to us in your car, on your phones, these smart things and everything. So anytime that we're on, that we're on.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And
I like it.
We are finally ready to kind of break down this episode, and man, what an episode it was. I mean, some of the Legends continuity they put into this, I was a little, taken aback by. But the continual kind of ruggedness, I would say, of this show. I mean, the grit, and the way this is shot. I mean, like, I can tell you, The Mandalorian. Obviously, we talked about that and how it was kind of shot in that kind of Lucas. What was it? The Skywalker Ranch. Yeah, kind of the moving screen. Yeah, when you're actually out in these environments and these sets and the way this is shot. I mean, this is shot. To me, this is Disney's best work at post, I say, COVID or any kind of their streaming services. Mm-hmm. This is shot in like the cinematography in this is literally like motion picture-esque. So I'm really liking the tone of the show, the way it looks and how everything's kind of set up. But other than that, my initial reaction is just another great episode, solid stuff, and we'll kind of get into the dichotomy of it. But what are you guys' reactions off the bat?
I'm liking I'm I second everything that you just said. It's shot extremely well. You know, I'm immersed in the world. I'm loving the openness, and it's opened up even more because we're introduced to more characters. We're introduced to, like, the imperial side and everything. We're introduced to their nuances, their struggles, and, like, their tit-a-tats and stuff in between the lieutenants and everything. They're going back and forth. Well, whose jurisdiction is this? Who's your, well, she's telling on me. It's all that. It's like, wow, it's like minute, deep, minutia detail stuff. And that it goes straight to, like, the character development of everything. I'm loving that Andor is, like, off world and everything into this world, and we're seeing just, like, a vast, like, we was talking about, like, Game of Thrones and stuff off mic and everything. We're seeing, like, mountains, we're seeing, like, vast lands and everything, kind of like what you would see on that type of show and everything. And it's giving me, is the politics and stuff is coming into it much, even more. So I'm appreciating everything that I'm seeing. I'm thinking, man, this is the same world as Ewoks. It's crazy. This is the same world. And it just goes to show you, tone doesn't matter. As long as you could tell a great story and tell it well. You shouldn't be worried about, okay, how's the tone going to fit with this? This Star Wars? Yes, this is Star Wars. I'm good with it so far.
It was a good episode. I liked it. The first time I watched it, totally taken aback at where it ended. I thought, where's the attack on this garrison? And where's the payroll heist? Like, nothing happened. But I watched it 2 more times, and I realized that there's 2 points that they made in this episode. We saw the ISB, okay? The ISB, very important, Imperial Security Bureau. So originally, the Empire was sort of trying to macro manage, okay? Not micromanage. So they were still letting the regional governors, they were still letting the people tend to their houses. And they would just kind of oversee things and make sure things were still going in the imperial direction. So it was really nice to see how that was and how it really wouldn't work ultimately. And I think our friend Governor Tarkin said that quote that, okay, we're going to take control now. Okay, we're going to have control over everything. And this is kind of how we're seeing this build. So we're seeing how the true empire was created. There's the imperial element, but now there's the empire. So we see the imperial part here and how it's kind of not really working out, and they still don't have control. Love the scene where, I forget what the guy's name is, but one of the supervisors went down and scolded the 3 corporate police. You couldn't even hand over a simple warrant. You're a cluster. Okay, you're done. And guess what? You get to go down in history as sounding the gong on the entire corporate sector, as far as policing the people goes. You're egregious. And I loved all the adjectives he used. That was a great scene where he was scolding those 3 cops. The other thing we saw is the beginning of the rebellion. Literally, the relationship between Senator Mon Mothma and Luthen was the beginning of the rebellion. They funded it. They had to get the money together. Because you can't just start a rebellion on nothing. You need collateral. You need
resources,
assets. So she was getting money from all her investments, or had she been squirreling money away? Now the Empire was looking at her. The Imperial Bureau was looking at her. 2 really important points in this episode. Other than that, not much happened as far as me as just a super fan. Like, I wanted to see some blaster fire. I wanted to see some stormtroopers. I wanted to see something happen. They probably could have. They could have rushed it along, but I think they did a good job in introducing the new characters, like you said, DP, holding true to the timeline. But those 2 points were really critical in this episode. Like I said, when I saw it the first time, I was like, thought I missed something. But now I watched it a couple times and I realized what they were doing. But overall, excellent episode.
Man, Andor has a flavor, guys. It is very distinctive. It's different than other Star Wars in a lot of really cool ways. The sound is very different. Synthesizers and organs. Organs, man! Organs! I thought that was really rad that there was pipe organs and synthesizers in this. Made it feel like a Blade Runner sort of situation. And I like that it's a little bit of a cat and mouse heist kind of scenario now. And heists are very much a Star Wars trope. Solo, Rogue One itself, we're rolling toward. You could say the beginning of episode 3 is a heist. Episode 4 is a heist. They're heisting the princess. So heists in Star Wars make a lot of sense. I like that this is a lot like the Dirty Dozen setup scene where they have the model and they're talking through each little step. And I like that Cassian's job, Clem's job, is to sort of back everybody up. I like that he's like the universal backup. That was my job on the football all-star team because I wasn't good enough to play, but I could back everybody up. That's my claim to fame. This is the very British episode as well. The entire dressing down scenes are all very British. The arguments in the ISB headquarters are all extreme. They're so British. They're almost, they should have been shown after the Queen's funeral for the most. That should have been what was shown after. That just those people icily screaming, like yelling at each other, but not yelling near each other, right? That's a British thing. I really thought that was great. I thought the guy, that idiot getting slapped by his mother was very British. And I love that image.
He's coming back.
Something weird's going to happen with that guy.
He's joined a rebellion. He's going to be a rebel.
Yep.
Like that guy's got other stuff going on for sure, right? And I love that shot when he gets on the elevator on Coruscant and just they go down into Coruscant, because this is described very, very, very frequently in the Legends novels. Often we descend into the depths of Coruscant, and they explain, they try to explain like, oh, there's a social class caste system that's sort of determined by whether you go up or down when you get to Coruscant. And I think they did a great job illustrating that when they showed, Mon Mothma's place, this guy's place, and all that stuff all at once, right? I thought that was an excellent dichotomy, and I thought it really showed the motivations of these revolutionaries, because let's face it, we can call it a rebellion, but it's really a revolution. It's a political revolution these guys are looking to initiate. And just like many real life professional revolutionaries, they want to be funded first. And if you know your history, you will know that the Bolsheviks were robbing banks and robbing payrolls all throughout the beginning of the 20th century, specifically after the 1905 revolution in Russia. So this is not just historical. It actually is what, all revolutionaries do, all rebels do. We see the funding of the rebellion here, which means that all this plotting makes sense, right? So I'm just super excited to see all this.
And where do you get that money? And where do you hurt your enemy the best, the worst? You get their payroll. So you get what's funding their own people. That can collapse a society so quickly. Payroll, that's the biggest thing that funds an entire whatever society, whatever side you're on. If you attack the payroll, you got them. You got them where it counts.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Ken. I'd like to take a moment to speak about ADP payroll. That's right. Payroll is one of the most important things for your business. You have to make sure your people are paid, or guess what they're not going to do? Any more work. That's right. I know that's how it is for me. I'm sure that's how it is for all of you guys too, right?
Controls payroll? What controls payroll? Kronos, the god of time.
Well, let's not talk about competitors here. I know you may not know about UKG, but I do. We're talking about ADP payroll. So if you need a reliable payroll system, you should contact ADP. Contact us at nerdcyclopedia.com to find out more. This has been a impromptu commercial. Thank you very much.
UKG is not a bad system.
All right. Well, listen, it's all good. It's all good. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
All this talk of payroll, I feel like if I didn't say something, I'd end up in some trouble at my work. So I felt the need to do that. My bad, guys.
That was a great segue too.
It was.
It was almost as if you guys planned that.
Almost.
That was
It was a very
great.
poignant point of the episode that I thought it just perked my ears. Like, oh, they're attacking the imperial payroll. Good
Right.
for them. That's how you get them. And every payroll system is completely fallible.
Ken, I'm on like the exact opposite bar because I love the fact that nothing happened. You know, I mean, we're getting character development.
That's where I'm at too.
We had to get introduced to these, you know, like Hitch was saying, dirty dozen, you know, get all their personality and everything. This could have actually been a 2-hour movie, you know, in itself, you know, for the plan heist and everything. But since this episodes, we get the episode where we're introduced to all these new characters that surround an Andor that we didn't see beforehand. I don't believe anyone besides was it Luthen, his name? Was in the episodes beforehand, right? I don't know if you guys caught that too. The one girl, the woman who's leading Andor and everything, she was in Game of Thrones. She was I think the many faces god thing, his wife or whatever, you know, who was like slicing and dicing, chasing Arya all around and stuff. So I noticed her like right off the bat and everything. But yeah, so we're introduced to all these personalities, and I'm liking, like, you know, each one is distinct. You know, the one guy, he's like sort of like, okay, well, I'm going to trust that if he knows that, if Andor is about the rebellion, I trust him. You know, so long as he's, you know, about that, I'm good with that. Everyone is like, you know, a little hesitant, you know, but we're getting like little distinctive personality traits that so by the time when the heist happens, we're sort of invested in everybody's part, you know, in the heist and everything. So it makes it really great for when eventually something does happen, we're more invested.
Hopefully something does happen. Very Bad Batch. Like, as far as the personalities go, like, you can tell who the munitions expert is. You can tell who the IT expert is. And of course, we got the girl was medical, and she handled, you know, maybe she handled the food and just supplies. So you got an idea that each one had a specific job. Now, they had to bring Clem in because obviously something was missing. There was some, you know, goat quality missing from this heist that all these people didn't have, that Clem is somehow going to like overcome some obstacle and save the day. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. I want to see how he makes himself valuable in this whole adventure.
But I mean, we know the heist is going to happen in the next like 10 minutes of screen time. It's going to start, right? Like they owe us that. And I think this season's like 12 episodes long, you know what I mean? So, or 10 or 12. So, obviously we know it's not like they're going to build it up for 9 more episodes and then pull the heist.
Right. That would be just like,
it would make me mad. Especially if I knew there's only 2 seasons and they're just like, all right, so next we're going to do flight practice.
Nothing. We're going to do nothing.
Hey.
That pacing would just be awful and everything. So yeah, we're definitely going to get the heist like next episode. You tease something like that up, you know, it has to pay off.
I don't think the heist will happen the next episode. I think they'll start the heist, but I don't think we'll see it. I mean, because you guys are missing like the most important things that they're even leading up to. So the next episode is all about the dinner, because you know who's at the dinner, right? The person who's going to be at that dinner is going to be that bald-headed being, that lady who is next to Palpatine. She's Force sensitive, and she actually knows he's Sidious. She's on the guest list, so that's going to be like a peek into the eye of actually Darth Sidious himself. So if you look at that chamber sequence in Episode 3, when he's rising to power, there's the being with the horns on his head, then there's the bald, kind of like super pale white person. That's the person who's going to be at the dinner, and she's actually Force sensitive. She can read minds and actually do like mind tricks to people. So she's going to be on the dinner guest list.
Her husband's going to cancel the dinner because Mon Mothma's against it.
It's happening.
Yeah,
But
but
a lot of this stuff though. I mean, even
I
that
didn't
last
pick up on
episode.
what you were saying, Trenton. Though,
Yeah,
like,
she's going to be on the guest list.
okay,
Even that last 10 minutes at Luthen's his lair, so many things that were non-canon that became canon. I mean, if you like stop the screen and look at some of the backgrounds, there are Sith holocrons, there's Jedi holocrons there. There are the tablets from Rebels, which are the Mortis tablets that are one of the pieces she actually collects, which is crazy. We saw kyber crystals, obviously, that Luthen gave him.
Mhm.
And then in the background of some of that stuff, there was Starkiller, which is a super legends. That was his like armor in the background. So we had Starkiller's armor in the background. Plo Koon's like breathing mask was on the table. Like I had to like stop it, and then I tried to watch a bunch of like different Easter egg videos. But man, there's Mandalorian armor that's allegedly Jango Fett's in there. Like
Ooh.
so much stuff in that shop that makes you wonder
But
like how
he
he's
did
collected it.
say, yeah, he did say this is where time stands still. So
Right.
all
So
the
yeah,
things that
I
you
caught
knew,
that. I caught that line. That was a very distinctive line that he said. So I'm
yeah.
glad you said that, Ken, because the way he said it, I was like, okay, because I'm not immersed in it, as much as you guys are and everything. So I was none of that meant anything to me. But when he said that line, it sort of meant something because of the way he said it. I
Mhm.
felt.
I think when they show those Mortis tablets, and I know this is another discussion, but I think we're going to get that whole World Between Worlds time jump, maybe a what if, or they just literally rewrite 7, 8, 9, and we're going to get like an alternate because they wouldn't have shown those tablets and the Easter egg, that kind of stuff, to not make it anything. And he said the line, this is where time stops. The World Between World time stops. So there's an easy way to kind of retcon things and change things. And I don't think they would just put those Mortis tablets in there, especially from Rebels, and tie all this together. I mean, that's literally what hits 30 years before this, after this.
So wait, hold
I
on.
mean, the Mandalorian.
66 in the fall of
It's
the.
Well,
about
no,
11 years later, right? Or
I'm
about
taking I'm
probably
taking this to
14.
after. I'm taking
I'd
this
say
to after
15.
episode 6. Yeah.
So Mandalorian is 6 years after the end of Jedi, and that is 3 years after A New Hope, and that is 5 years after this. So 5 + 3 + 6 is 14. So that's 14
Yeah.
years from today. And we know my interest here is, so these guys are on that, they're getting blown up by the Death Star at the end of Rogue One, right? Close the door, and then they can have, other stuff can happen, right? Beyond, and that's beyond something like a simple what if, because if they all of a sudden show up in the Mandalorian timeline and it's because of this mechanism, right? Makes sense. It just would make sense. You'd be like, oh well, you skipped all that stuff. Here's what happened. You fill them in with whatever. I think you can make that work. I think you can make a lot of stuff work. I think this Tales of the Jedi anthology, and this is off
Yeah.
topic, but the Tales of the Jedi anthology is going to be a big deal thing to hit. If it hits real well, then I think you're going to see more what if stuff, more of this, creative animation that's kind of in line with that. What was that series we did an episode on?
Oh, that was the anime stuff. That's coming
Right.
back as well. Yeah.
So anyway, I like seeing the variety, and again, because Andor has a flavor, and they're leaning into it real hard. This distrust, the weapons are all very realistic and gritty. They have cocking mechanisms. They charge up.
Mhm.
This thing blurs the lines between Star Wars and other science fiction a lot. And the one thing that makes it feel the least like Star Wars, and this is something I noticed, I'm curious if you guys noticed this, is the absence of non-human life forms. Every character is a person, like a human being, not just played by a human being, a human being. There's not a Wookiee in this group. There's not, a Celestian in this group. Bothans will be, giving their lives.
I mean,
This
we saw
heist.
characters in the back. Are you talking about characters that have speaking parts?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so because we saw some characters that were like non-human and
Oh, sure. It's not zero, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
My point is I don't know if this is like a cost-saving mechanism or it's based on focus groups or whatever, but usually in a crew there's some alien,
right. Yeah,
right?
I think we'll
Some
see that
one.
at the dinner. I think that's what you're going to see because that's really the high court of Coruscant. I mean, she's a senator,
Mm.
right? So I think we'll start to see, like you're saying, maybe a couple of those other species. I was reading some of the program notes. I didn't know that allegedly Sidious, or actually the Emperor, um, is the new base of operations for the Senate is actually the old Jedi Temple. So I don't know if they're going to show that in the next episode, but I was reading some notes and stuff in the background for some other things, and allegedly the Jedi Temple that they destroyed after Order 66, they'll be holding proceedings, and that's kind of like the Emperor or Palpatine's kind of their new like temple for meetings and stuff. So
Well,
I
that
don't
would be
know. I
the
mean
ultimate
that'll be crazy.
jab, right? To hold your
Mhm.
new government in the old regime's temple. That would be great. That
If
makes
only I could
total
think of a historical parallel to that, like in the Hall of Mirrors in Paris at the end of the Franco-Prussian War, where the German Empire was declared in Versailles. So that happens for real.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
Nobody likes having me around.
But no, I mean, yeah, like we're saying, this show and hits it like it's the least Star Warsy show, but in my eyes, it's the most like variety because honestly, we needed this. The lightsabers, we've been doing it, and honestly, I mean, it's up and down. You either love it or hate it. I mean, this is really just a different tale. Like it's hard to hate it because it's coming from a different place, right? It's coming from a different story. It's telling different stories. We're getting new characters, and we're really seeing the true birth of the rebellion, as they say. It's you have these military militant rebels, as he said when he talked about Saul Guevara and how these people act and what are we, and it's like really it's a beginning of rebellion. There's different factions to really make this one whole, and it's no different than any other political uprising, right? Everybody has their different groups, different opinions, but eventually they come to be one solid being and they stand up for what they truly believe in. So I'm really liking this. The political undertones, it's not too much, so I kind of like it how that we're still getting context. Um,
It's a slow build.
it is, yeah, it's a slow build. I
Yeah, so
mean,
it's
and
a slow build because you got like with the with the beginning as a rebellion doing, and then juxtaposed with like the politics of that they brought in with like my mom and everything, juxtaposed with what's going on with like the IBS and everything, the beginnings of that. So everything is just transitioning and beginning and stuff. So I
You
love
mean
it.
But they've been
I
around.
ISB, right? Not the IBS.
What
I
did
think
I
the
say?
IBS. You said the IBS. You said we got to watch it with the IBS getting around.
What,
Yeah,
IBS?
the Imperial Security Bureau. You can't mess with those
The
guys. They'll find
ISB.
you. If you're a virus or a germ, they'll stamp you out. You're done.
ISB, Sage. Oh my
Jeepers creepers, dude. That's another classic one right there. The IBS.
clip him up.
Watch out for the IBS. I like
They're
the different
everywhere.
flavor though. There are a lot of really good Star Wars video games from the 90s that are sort of in the sneak and spy and shoot like genre. The Jedi Knight ones actually are kind of
Yeah,
like that, where you don't even really deal with a lightsaber for most of the game. So I know those types of stories do work. These are interesting characters that all seem to arrive with an enormously rich backstory. Like their character sheet. If this was a Dungeons and Dragons party, their character sheet would be really long. We'd be like, oh, that guy's done some cool stuff. You know what I mean? And that gives you an investment, right? And here's the other thing. We know what happens to Cassian, right? We know what happens to Cassian, but we also know Cassian's alone at the beginning of that movie. So, this group is not destined to be together for a super duper long time. And I think that it'll be interesting.
That's why this nothing that happens here is so
right.
important for later down the line.
Right. Because who's going to betray who? What's going to happen, right? Like you imagine there's
We
going to
already
be some
know.
sort of double cross.
Yeah.
That dude with the weird haircut, they're trying to make it seem like it's going to be him. That dude with the crop cut. But I don't know. It could be anybody. I mean, they really could be anybody. I don't know any of those people the same way Clem doesn't.
Right. It's interesting. I know we discussed this, and I told you guys this previously. The directors came out and actually said he is not shooting this back to back, so they actually are going to take a small break. So Andor is not being shot back to back due to probably just actor availability. I'm interested to see the season two, just kind of fast forwarding things. I mean, that's what we'll see in the introduction. I'm guessing of Galen Erso. I'm sure the Empire will be more prevalent in season two as we get closer to that Rogue One type. So we might see the whole kidnapping, the beginnings of the plans. Actually, I think that'll be really hopefully the cliffhanger to episode one or the ending of season one into two is them getting an idea of a super weapon being created to some aspect, and um, it'll be interesting. I mean, like I said, it's 12 episodes. We're only 4 in, so a third of this in, right? And I'm liking it. I really do. It's different. It's keeping my attention. And it's not Jedi centric, so I'm kind of in the way this is running, it kind of runs like a video game almost, which is weird. Like we've talked about this in some of the other kind of Filoni projects or this new Star Wars, if you will, this Disney Star Wars. They're all written and they're ran like a video game. So I'm really liking the way it's kind of flowing. It's flowing like a video game would.
Yeah, a different type and everything.
Yeah.
It makes the characters feel like they have agency because it's
Yeah.
like, this is what I would do, right? This is how and it also checks their motivations, because if it's not something a person would do, they shouldn't, if it doesn't make sense prima facie, they shouldn't do it, right? They shouldn't walk blindly into stupid things. That's lazy writing. And these characters all seem to have a very high sense of alertness. There's that weird sort of threatening speech about falling asleep on guard and what Saw Gerrera would do to you. And we've seen how ruthless Saw is. I'm excited to see how much they discover about what they're mining on Jeddah. Like, what are they doing over there with those temples, right? And it's just this huge, massive industrial project. I like the idea that the Emperor has been trying to just get everyone to go along with them being the Emperor. And they started out by just like assuming okay, hey, I want you to do it, and we're going to be patriotic, and then I have to assume the security apparatus, okay, and we'll spin this off into a corporation. That's not going to work. All right, here comes the heavy-handed stuff. Okay, now we're going to have, the Stalin-esque informers and the ISB, and that's how we're going to keep control of everyone, by spying on everyone. And then, the Emperor just realizes this is all a waste of time. I'm just going to blow up everybody that disagrees with me. And like, you can see that thought process going through.
Progression into truly evil, good evil, things and stuff. So yeah, I can see where that comes from and everything. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you hit on it as far as the mining on Jeddah and stuff. Think about it. I mean, really what they're doing is, they didn't really talk about it, but I'm guessing that they're mining kyber crystals to power the beginnings of the Death Star to shoot the laser. I mean, I'm guessing that's kyber crystals, and think about it, if they're mining in Jeddah at this point, I mean, that's really the end, literally the true ending of the old Republic, as far as, or actually the Coruscant Council, if you will. So that's really that planet of Jeddah is where they would send the younglings to obviously get their crystals and to become Jedi. So with them now enacting Order 66 and these, them now basically taking over their planets, it's really saying that the Jedi that are left are gone. And I'm guessing that maybe Luthen may have been there at some point to get that oversized kyber crystal that he has. I mean, because I'm sure they keep showing that there has to be a point to that blue kyber crystal, and it's blue. So I don't know character-wise if they will try to throw in any kind of Jedi lore, but for them to say kyber crystal, it has to be somebody.
Just mentioning it, I think, brings in the Jedi count.
It's Chekhov's hot kyber crystal.
It will be.
It'll fire at some point.
Somebody's going to need that, or it's going to go to somebody.
Someone's jamming that thing in the tube.
Yeah, you got to keep the tradition of a lightsaber going in the Star Wars series.
Although if a lightsaber shows up with these people, they should all be alarmed and stunned by it, and they should all react to it like they have no idea what it is. And they're terrified of it.
Reaction. How did Cassian react to the time? I mean, to the jump, in the ship and everything. To me, he was kind of surprised. I mean, did he realize that those ships, what do you call them? Zoom like that, or
it was.
They don't.
It was
they
modded.
Don't.
That's what he tried to hint to him. He didn't know that ship was able to do that, and it was one.
It has a hyperdrive. It's like a TIE fighter with a hyperdrive, like Darth Vader's, right?
Yeah.
They don't make them, except they did one.
Yeah.
Heavily modded, super secrecy. This guy's like Q. You know what I mean? That's who this guy is, in my opinion, in this story, right? I mean, we got Cassian's James Bond, and this guy's Q, and he's running all this spy stuff for M, whose name happens to have a whole bunch of M's in it. So this is like a little bit of a James Bond flavor in Star Wars, which is
that does sound, actually, now that you put it that way, I can kind of tie that together. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So this is going to be good, and as long as they keep the characters interesting, they gave us enough of what Cassian was up to give us investment in Cassian, and they effectively used that to say as a cutout for all the rest of the characters. Everybody else got here the same way. Shut up about it. Like don't worry about it. This is how everybody got here. You're not that concerned about it, which I think is a neat little bit of sleight of hand from a narrative perspective. I'm excited to see this whole, like they've got this heist set up real well where they have this timeline, right? Where they have the that sort of Damocles, like 9 minutes. We know how long it's going to take, 9 minutes. So obviously this heist is going to take like 9.5 minutes. Do you think we'll see it in real time? It could be cool.
Yeah. And how about a bit of more of a pressure where, Clem, he's in it, and he only had 3 days to get everything, get all the knowledge and learn all, the whole, mechanics of the heist and everything, is putting pressure. I mean, put pressure on the characters, and it puts the sense of agency. And YouTube was talking about like that high alertness and everything. Not everybody's, alertness is risen, because here's this new guy. They're about to do this heist and everything. Mm-hmm. They're about to do it in 3 days, and they're just now being they've got everything all set, and then now you're introducing like a new element, new person, and X factor that they can't control, or don't really trust or know anything about as of yet, but he's there and he's not leaving. So what do you do about that? So I mean, Gilroy and them, they're doing everything in their power to throw in elements to not just have the narrative just be straightforward, So, like I said, I mean, this episode was a great setup for us to introduce to the characters and know the stakes, right off the bat.
I see what
Go ahead, Ken.
Well, yeah, no, what I was going to say is like Team Mitch, you said the next episode's not going to have the heist.
I don't think
so.
He doesn't think so.
We really need to see more of the pending conflict that's going on in the Imperial Security Bureau, because there's a lot that needs to happen there to allow this heist to happen. Because right now, I mean, that garrison down there protecting the payroll, I mean, they're heavily funded. They know their job. And I don't think 8 people going in there are going to really have much luck. So there needs to be some breakdown that we need to see happen to allow this heist to happen. So
we're seeing like a bit of a breakdown between the two lieutenants, right? Already.
Exactly. The 2 supervisors already are like this.
Butting heads and everything. Yeah.
It's so
ultimately we're going to see something happen there.
British.
Yeah.
I love the bureaucracy fight.
Oh, she looks like she's a rebel spy. She smells rebel all day. The way she was looking at her tablet off the bat, like trying to type in things, I was like,
yeah, and because I think she thinks she's getting the short end of the stick, and no one's listening to her, and I think she's going to be an in for our guys, for the rebellion, for the this heist to go off without a hitch.
What did he mean when he told her like, "Oh, the expectations for you are higher, and it's unfair, but it's what it is, and it can be the start of a great career, but it is what it is. You got to overperform." That was a very cryptic thing to say, and I'm curious if you guys have any idea what you think this guy was talking about.
On the surface, it seemed like it was sort of like a sexist type of comment and everything. I know it wasn't
like a
that.
Backstab.
Yeah, something like that. But I know it wasn't that. So
they didn't have that back then. They didn't do that. That wasn't even a thing.
That's just a Western thing as of right now.
Right. That's like what we do now.
What we do
Western. This is a galaxy far, far away. I mean,
no, I'm talking about like Western, like
Western civilization.
Right now,
Oh, right.
Western, right.
Western.
But yeah. I love that, like that back and forth between them two, and she comes off compelling already. I love her character. She hasn't even done much, and I'm interested to see much more. What she does and everything. I'm forgetting my guy's name from Rogue One. I like, because we're only seeing the legacy characters. We're only seeing is Mon Mothma and the guy from Rogue One, right? So far that we've seen before. I mean,
everybody else is new.
Yeah, everybody else is new. So I mean, I'm just just loving. I need to see more of the ISB. You know, I need to see more of that. So it's a crazy element with them guys. You know, Palpatine. You just see his like the layers that go all the way up to him. I'm curious about that, and where like I guess Vader is in this whole thing. Like, he's his so where are we at in the timeline with Darth Vader?
Vader has just probably found out about Luke. Is this right about when that happened? When that whole like training rig? Oh no, that happened. That happens. Yeah, that happens later. But Vader's just the Emperor's errand boy here, right?
Right.
I mean, he's I mean, in reality, he's like the crown prince or whatever. But he's like the Emperor's number 2 person. The Emperor.
Yeah, he's the number 2, but doesn't he gives off commands and stuff as well, right? And when he gives off the commands, these are his minions that go off and give more commands and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think in this time setting, I think we talked about it in the comics as well. This is kind of when he's on his mission to basically hunting down and just slaying like leftover Jedi. So I think it's that young kind of overpowered Vader that he's right now just full rage and he's just hunting down kind of Jedi and other
off
systems
somewhere. He's off somewhere, like you said, just fulfilling this Order 66. And the Emperor has him off, out of the way at the moment.
Right.
Like
he's kind of cleaning up.
Review. He's just going on these real simple missions, not very neatly. I don't think he's really really initiating any sort of power. He's not really showing himself as a power figure, but he's just a muscle right now.
Palpatine is running a tight ship. Jeez, man, that's crazy with this guy.
Yeah, he has it down. He has it down.
My ultimate, I've probably said this before. My ultimate Palpatine conspiracy theory is that it's easier for him to influence minds that are like his, and the whole point of his human his xenophobic agenda is to put humans in places of power so that he can manipulate them the way he wants, exactly the way he wants. Because it's easier than manipulating like a Mon Calamari, for instance.
True. Yeah, because if you think about it, the way the mind control works with the Force, and humans are usually the most susceptible to that.
That's my grand conspiracy.
I believe it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say conspiracy. I mean, it has definitely some legs to it. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, leading up, guys, into this episode 5. I mean, it's like I said. To me, it's been faster than a slow burn. Kind of weirdly, I like one episode, but I kind of would want 2 a week. I think maybe for back-to-back episodes.
You just want more, I want more.
Yeah, I want more. I mean, that's like
I'd like 4 at a time or 3 at a time, like they did.
Right.
They hit us like Netflix and just give it to me, right? Just give me all of it up front, right? Just give it to me all.
Netflix is staggering stuff too. British Baking Show.
They started doing that.
The sanctity of the streaming dump has long since been eroded.
Yeah, they've been cutting that out. Yeah, they've been doing part. Yeah, at least we didn't get to hit with a part 1, right? And part 2, you give us the first 6, and we'll see you in 6 months. And then so yeah.
I was just thinking about that too. It shows you the benefits of having a longer season, so you could pace it a lot better. 6 episodes. A lot of these stories that Marvel and Star Wars have been doing could have been a lot better if you took them a little bit more time with the characters and spread out. Give us a few more episodes. And this Andor is just showing that level of quality and time actually works. I'm hoping that Star Wars is paying attention. Kathleen Kennedy and the gang and everything. Dave Filoni too. This can be done in a mature element, and you can still have great pacing and take your time with your characters and stuff. Really, actually, Filoni, I say, because he's been doing like the animated stuff for so long, he knows how to pace. He's fine with that. But
it's crazy. He's been in the background lately, though. It's a little concerning.
With Ahsoka, he's about to come back on the scene.
Yeah, he's been in the background for a while. But I mean, this will test our theory. I mean, because we've kind of been saying, the 6 isn't enough. Is 12 too many? I think that 8 to 10 kind of is the sweet spot. But we'll see if 12 is going to be the number moving forward.
Well, the only thing that's really driving with Andor is that we know how it ends. We know where it
Right.
ends and everything.
Yeah.
So the 12 to when they came out with the announcement, there's going to be 24 episodes, two
Right.
episodes.
So 12 and 12. Yeah.
They already got the story set, so you could pace it, accordingly and everything. Whereas if you did something else where you don't really know where it's going to end up in head, it gets a little sketchy, how to pace stuff.
But do we really know how this ends? And do you really? I mean, they might not push it to Rogue One. I wouldn't put it past them to cut this way. I mean, we might not see Galen Erso. We might not. They might cut it early. I don't know. I mean, there might be other plans.
So it might end right before that.
I'm
So we
thinking
don't
it
even
will. I'm
see
thinking
how
it's
it connects.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, if they lead it that far, sadly, I mean, we have to find out. They would have to CGI Princess Leia, right? If they take it that far, we're gonna have to know about her because she's so integral to this part. She really becomes like the leader of the rebellion,
So
kind
she would
of
have to.
Mon Mothma's heir. So we would have
Yep.
to see a CGI version of Carrie Fisher or another replacement actress, right? It would have to
They
if
have
we
to
lead it
blend
that far.
into Kenobi somewhere too.
They're
How
gonna
many
have
years? How many years before that actress that played young Leia is going to be able to play a believable teenager? I'm thinking 5+ at least,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Not
So I
not
mean,
3.
it's
Or
gonna
you
be
can
too
just
soon
do
for
what
her.
Game of Thrones is doing: just plug another actress in and don't tell anyone about it. Just
Nah, they
People
did a
knew
good
about
job
that.
with that deep fake Luke. I mean, they can probably do Carrie. They have the
yeah.
Or if they
technology.
have if they can get Billy Lord
Hey,
to do
you're
most
hired. Come
of
over
the
here. You
stuff.
look old. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just play this character and completely reverse the entire storyline. It's fine. Who cares?
Like I said, I'm just excited for this, man. I'm really happy. It's been a different pace, something different for us to talk about, other than Vader, Luke. Obviously we know we
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
Mandalorian stuff.
I'm glad. Yeah, now the legacy stuff is fine. Now let's introduce us to more stuff mixed in with the timelines and everything. So
Right.
it's we still haven't gotten anything past episode 9 and stuff. So
Right.
if you're gonna do stuff in between the timelines, this is the way you do it.
Correct. Yeah, I'm really digging it. Really digging it. But yeah, guys, another fun episode. Another week we knock them down, so to speak. But before we go, I just want to say something super, super important. It's kind of off topic, but like honestly, Lego, can you guys just stop what you're doing because they're destroying projects. They've ruined the Black Panther movie already. Ruined it.
Lego?
Yes.
Why are
They
you
leaked
paying
it.
so much attention to Lego, man?
They leaked
Because
this stuff out.
Trenton
Oh, it
reads
was.
everything. He delves
Oh,
in everything. He
I
can't help
do.
but doom scroll, each
I
and every
did. I
day.
did. I was
He loves
online looking
he
at it.
loves the internet.
I saw the sets and I was like so destroyed when I seen them. Did you guys? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I've
Oh,
read stuff and
yeah.
avoided stuff, so
I've seen it.
you can't
I
help yourself.
I even
It's
went on the
you.
website to look.
You're the problem.
I went on their website and it's even on there.
Stay out of the
Just
toy aisle.
disgusting.
Just
Stay
walk
out
away.
of the internet.
October 1st, the toys come out. Just to let you know. So
Okay.
a couple days they'll be out. But yeah, Lego just ruins too much for a lot of projects. Even Star Wars stuff. There's some stuff that came out that was released too
What do
early.
you, Trent? Okay, just to be honest, what do you expect from a multi-conglomerate corporation expected to make money with their shareholders and sell toys?
How are you supposed to have the toys out when the movie comes out if you don't start making them first?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to do that, Trenton?
They leaked the biggest.
What are you supposed to do? Not have the toy out when the thing's #1 in the box office forever?
You
Trenton?
gotta have the toy out.
They literally leaked, but DP knows what I'm talking about. I mean, they literally leaked the biggest secret in the world.
Who leaks it? Somebody has to go investigate and look for that stuff.
They
Probably
put the
you.
box on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about. Hitch, you know what I'm talking about? We'll talk about it off here, guys.
Trenton, I don't think I have this idea that there was never a surprise in your house on Christmas morning when you were a kid.
There are no surprises. I don't do surprises.
5 days before Christmas.
Trent's opening stuff up and just going, "Oh wow, I had no idea. This is
You knew
Oh,
What a letdown! All my friends are
Mom,
surprised.
hey.
I'm not.
you knew the trick, right, about slicing the video game box open and sliding the disc out, right?
Oh
Just
man,
slicing it.
The
Come
disc?
on, man.
God, I keep forgetting you're like at least 1
Well,
year younger than me.
Yeah, you remember the Genesis? You know, I
It
mean,
was harder to get. It was harder to get
you
like
couldn't
an
get the
NES
cartridge
cartridge
out.
back
Yeah,
in.
you
See,
couldn't get the
that's a
cartridge
problem right
out.
there.
And,
There's some
you know,
girth to those things. You can't.
when you know
Well,
the
where's the
disc
game so you
machine,
take it out? Oh, I don't want to do that.
right?
Well,
my man cannot help himself, man.
No,
He
there's no secrets in my house. I'm telling you. I literally, you guys know I read the movies and like, you know, I read the script for the movie and it comes out.
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have you on
You
this. Part of the reason because your information is usually surprisingly good, like in way in advance. So that's one of the reasons we like having you on the show for sure. But you know,
If
you don't have to go
I'll-
looking for that stuff.
right,
if
no,
you don't
I
want
do.
to.
I have to.
Yeah.
I do.
You know,
I'll probably read Black Panther here, and I'm probably going to get it in like 3 weeks.
Oh man,
So I'll know through Black Panther. In 3 weeks.
enjoy the way you enjoy your content, man. And
I do, man. I do.
God bless you.
you do enough. You do enough going there to
I do.
It's okay.
I do.
It's not like it's
all
going
right.
to stop you from buying it.
It doesn't. I don't.
Especially not-
Disney is still
yeah.
going to get my
As long
money.
as Disney gets your money,
They're
that's
gonna get my
all they
money,
care
man.
about.
Is it piracy if we buy it anyway? I don't know. That's a
It's
good
not.
question. I'm not here to argue the moral.
I
the moral from where
I
they-
paid their bullshit price for the Star Cruiser.
Man, how many times you been to
$5
Galaxy
grand.
this year?
I
Come
just
on,
paid five-
Disney. Hey,
You know
give
what?
the
Yeah.
guy a break.
I paid $5 grand for 3 days and got COVID. Come on,
Disney.
Man. Come
Well,
on,
Disney.
man.
You owe them because you got COVID.
Disney.
Did you pay for that or did they give that to you for free?
Yeah, that was
I'm
a
sure
gift. That was
it's in there
that was
somewhere.
my
It was
that was
a
my gift.
line item. Oh,
Yeah.
give the customer COVID. That's like $600.
That was my gift for for spending my lovely time on this Star Cruiser. So
Is that not their way of getting you to pay for an extra night? Is that their way? Is that their
Yeah,
version of
stay
now you
here
just can't
another-
leave?
yeah, stay here another day, right?
Now you're on lockdown.
Oh yeah, right. I'm kind of a sucker though because I think I'm taking my first cruise, which is going to be a Disney Star Wars cruise. So we got to keep the Star Wars content coming, right? So I'm looking at the Disney Cruise Line and may take one of these Star Wars cruises. So
Oh boy.
at least we'll be able to record on that because you couldn't record in the Star Cruiser like at all.
Oh gee.
They're crazy about that stuff. Yeah, it was kind of weird, but it's all right. But yeah, guys, next week we'll be back. Same nerd antics, same fun things. And also we'll have some stuff coming up for NCFS. We're still in the preliminary stages of getting some dockets together for you guys. I know you guys, a lot of you people like kind of the content we were doing with that, so we'll have some new dockets coming as well for that. So keep your eyes peeled as always, guys. And until next week, this is the way.
It's
This
the
is
way.
the way.